Yes, it's another episode of Marriott's Chariots, and yet again we have another Polistil or Policar. It's the Lancia Fulvia rally car. This one came in its original box by the looks of it. I'm just in the process of just taking it apart. The engine's working, rear tyres rock hard completely. So you can see I've peeled one off, it just broke off really. So yeah, we've just taken off the screw at the bottom that holds the body on. So you just literally do that, slide it off the clip at the back there. Right, so all we're going to be doing is giving it a clean up and replacing the rear tyres. And once again, I'll probably get rid of the suppressors and things, or just push them down out the way, but we'll see how it goes first. And we'll have to replace the contacts as well. Front tyres are fine, they just came with these very thin rubber wheels, but yeah, the back ones are rock hard. So if you just sort of carefully prise these off, but they just chip, don't they? Yeah. Prise the back off, there we go. Alright, and then we can have a proper go at getting this tyre off, and we'll get some tweezers and pull all this fluff out of the axles. And as previous videos, we'll probably just strip the motor, give it a clean and a service, and then we'll put the car back together. Decals, I think we're okay with those. We'll just give the car a wipe down just to give it a bit of a clean. But I don't think I'll change anything there. It looks like they're all still the originals, and although a bit dirty, they'll be fine. Yeah, look at that, a whole load of rear axle debris. So that's what's left of the tires. They just chip off like that. A whole load of hair and muck came out of the rear axle. So we'll just go and give the body a light wipe down. Likewise, all the other plastics, the bearings and things, we'll just go and give it all a wash, try and clean up these wheels a little bit, and then we'll strip the motor and give that a clean. Right, so the body parts have cleaned up well. Body's a lot shinier, better than it was. It's always difficult, you don't want to apply too much pressure on the old paper type stickers, otherwise you'll end up just destroying the whole thing. So it's just a gentle wipe just to get some of the surface dirt off. But yep, happy with that. So the body will be okay. On the motor, we've you basically just push these retaining clips back, and then you can slide out the rest of the motor. And there's always the bits of hair and mess that we take off there. Right, so in here we're going to try and release the if we can see that better. We just want to take the rest of the armature out, so we want to just carefully prise back they're like spring brushes on springs down here. So we should be able to just work this out, push it back, and the one on the other side as well, push it back a bit, and then here he comes. Right, and there's the armature, and that's the brushes. Better, here we go. So you can see there's the brushes on the springs, they just stay in there, and we just give it a general clean, get all these bits of hair and fluff out. Once again, just watch out for the little spacers, the little plastic and metal spacers. Put them back in the right order. Sometimes they end up down here in the cover, so when you pull that out, likewise in this cover there might be the plastic washer right down in the bottom there, so just keep an eye out you don't lose them. Right, well, we're just going to give this all a, see, there's the brass washer there, so that goes up against there, and then in the frame there's the plastic bush down in the bottom, there, yep. And on this side we've got the plastic one there. Should always be the plastic one up against the commutator, because obviously we don't want any arcing between anything. And then there might be the brass bush on spacer on the end. Right, well, we'll just give that a bit of a clean, and then I am going to desolder and take off the suppressor, and then basically just use what's left of the wires. So what we'll do is we'll end up with this white wire desoldered off this little board with the suppressors on, and I'll just connect that to this wire, which I'll remove, join the two up, put a bit of tape around it so they don't arc on anything. The red one, we'll keep the red wire and attach it to the red wire there. So we're just getting rid of this little board and putting the contact eyelets straight to the motor. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. I'll try and put the soldering on camera. So yeah, we've disconnected the wires from that suppressor thing, so that's gone. Just bare back the plastic enough, and then dip the metal bits, just dip them in the flux, so that's ready to go. Soldering irons nice and hot, so I'll just get a bit of solder onto the iron. And then if we get the two white ones together, it's probably not the neatest job, but I'm sure that'll work. Let's do the red ones next. Bit of solder on the iron. Put the two red fluxed bare wire together and solder onto it. Right, there we go. And then we'll just tape up those joins so they don't arc anywhere, and it'll be ready for reassembling. Right, so we just cleaned everything up with a bit of alcohol on the earbuds and things, and just cleaned up everything we could. Give the commutator a bit of a shine, and then just carefully pushed it back into where it's go. You just got to keep pushing these brushes back out the way as you push the armature back in. So we just got to keep those out of the way, and then it's a bit fiddly, but in it goes. Yep. And once again, just taking care that we don't lose any of these washers, spacers. There we go. That's in. Feels good. Right. And then we'll just pop a drop of oil on each end as we work it all in. So we might just put a tiny drop in this end, but more so in this side here, just on the, just work it all in. Don't really want to have too much oil flooded on this side, because this has got to be kept dry so that the pinion gear fits nice and tight on there. You don't want that slipping on there. So if we do get any oil on there, just make sure you get it all wiped off, dried off. Right, so that's all pushed in. And we just push these retaining clips back in without stabbing ourselves. They just push in, and on the other side as well. That's better. Right, so that should be, no, I didn't get that one quite in. Try again. I think that's gone in better. Yes, so that's nice and tight. Housing's on. Some oil's working in there. Sounds good as well. Right, carry on assembling. What you can do if you're worried about pinion gear slipping on here, some people would glue it on, but if you hold the motor still in the gaps like that, you can actually just gnarl the edge a little bit with a pair of pliers. It just gives a bit of a rough finish on the metal, so that when you slide on your pinion gear, it's got a nice tight finish, and that shouldn't slip at all. That should be fine. Right, okay, motor's back in. Basically, once you've put it together, one end has a just locks into this part of the chassis. The other end you've got to fit this plastic spacer here back on, and that clips in against, if I can show you, yeah, there's a small shoulder down here that just clips in. But once you've got the rear axle bracket in, it all clips together. I've put new braids on the front. You can see I've taped up the wires, and you just got to position them so they're out the way of the front axle. These braids, I'm just experimenting with using desoldering wick. It's a very, very fine copper braid. I might find it's too fine, but you can get different thicks and widths. This is a 3.5, but I'm thinking it should be alright. It's very fine, very soft. So yeah, you just cut it to length, and then put a tiny hole in the top, and then you can screw the terminals down onto them. Right, we're almost there. Right, nice new tires, courtesy of Top Toys in Italy. They supply a lot of tires and wheels for these Polistil and Policar cars. That's just their Top Toys, Italian company. So they produce all the bits and bobs for these cars. I've done the same trick again, just gnarled up the ends just gently with a pair of pliers, just to give it a nice grip for when you push the wheels on, because they did feel a bit loose when I took them all apart earlier. Yes, that's quite good. And then we'll just true it up a bit, make sure it's running nicely. You can, once the car's all assembled, you can run it on a bit of sandpaper statically for a while, just to take off any moldings. See, there's a bit of molding on that one. Could probably get that off, or I could probably just take it off with a penknife for now. But yeah, just run it statically on a bit of sandpaper, emery paper, and that will just help chew up the tires. Right, there we go. It's quite a nifty little clipping system at this retainer. It's a bit fiddly until you get used to them, but they clip in very nicely, holding everything tight, so now the motor doesn't move. it's all engaged nicely. You'll find that occasionally if you get the axle the wrong way round, or if you find the car's going backwards, yeah, you can either swap the terminals over at the front, or if you don't want to do that on these cars, you can just again pop it all out and swap the axle over. That's the other alternative. So yeah, after just having a little tweaking with it, I think we're okay there. I'm just going to put a drop of oil just in the bearing there where the axle runs in there, and in there just a drop of oil. I might put a drop of oil on the front axle so that where it rubs on the plastics, and then a tiny bit of grease just in the cogs here, and then we'll put the body on.